Okay, so this is the very first time I ever watched Leprechaun 4 in space completely throughout, because every other time I've shut it off and just could not do it because this movie sucks ass. In my opinion, in my humble opinion. This has always been a film that I have not been able to finish, but because I'm reviewing them all, I made myself finish this one. It's only the fourth film, and they're already sending Leprechaun to space, because, by the way, same director as the third film, which is even more ridiculous, because the third film is actually a really great, funny idea. And, I mean, not that sending a character to space is a bad idea in and of itself, because you could make stupid funny really easily with that concept, but I'm telling you, this fucking movie makes Jason X in the Friday the 13th franchise look like a masterpiece, because this film is just so boring, and you can't make dumb horror space movies boring. You just can't make B movies with that much of B-movie concept boring, because then you're just failing completely. And this film is a drag to get through. It literally is a drag. I really didn't take too many notes on this one. I kind of just want to give like a brief summary of it. You have Leprechaun in space, and there's no reason why. He is an alien on a planet, so I guess leprechauns are intergalactic. There's your explanation. This leprechaun is with a princess named Zarina on this planet Ithacon, and he's having like this feast with her, and just the beginning of the film when he's having dinner with her, it's pretty much the only green themed kind of like leprechaun theme that you have in the entire film. Because at the dinner table there is a bottle of a green liquid, which looks like green wine essentially. That's about as green as you get, and that's about as like Irish leprechaun lore you get in this fucking film, because the rest is just a really, really shitty, worse than any Roger Corman film that he's ever made. Again, another guy that looks like an absolute Steven Spielberg in comparison to this piece of shit. But I'm gonna try not to be super hard in this film. I'm gonna try, but spoiler alert, it's a half star. I finished it though, so there's that. You also get Miguel Nunes Jr. I think that's how you pronounce it. Maybe, I don't know. The guy who was in Friday the 13th Part 5, Return of the Living Dead, the original, and Scooby-Doo. He also was in the live-action Scooby-Doo for a bit. Really, really funny actor, really memorable actor. So him being in here is cool to see him. But every movie he's been in, he's been better, and it's been a better film. But yeah, so the leprechaun is on this planet having this feast of a dinner with this princess Zarina, and then this crew of space cowboys, I guess, come down, and I don't even know what they're looking for, but they encounter the princess and the leprechaun. They destroy the leprechaun, and they take the princess for research purposes, I guess, and then they blow up the leprechaun into pieces, and then one of the crew members decides to pee on the leprechaun pieces, and then the leprechaun injects itself into the urine trajectory into the guy. So he gets back on the ship, and they get back on the ship, the whole crew. And their sergeant is this guy with the cheapest like aluminum foil looking metal piece on his head, suggesting that like a part of his skull is metal. I don't know. So at one point, one of the characters named Kowalski, Mr. Kowalski, is too busy making a pig himself to think of anything else. A Streetcar Named Desire. I watch too many movies. Kowalski is like, there's basically a sex scene with him and this woman. I think the woman's name is Dolores. And she turns him on, and then they're about to fuck, and he gets an erection, and then the leprechaun bursts through his penis, I guess. Just comes right through his pants, and the leprechaun is now on board the ship, and the leprechaun is in search of this Princess Zarina so he can make her the queen, and then he can become the king of the universe. And he's hunting down the princess, which is now on the ship, being researched on, and the crew is hunting down the leprechaun, trying to kill it. At least this is what I'm getting from the film. I was trying not to check out of it, but it's every other time I've checked out of this film, so I was trying to pay attention. And then you have this guy named Dr. Mittenhead, who's like a Dr. Evil ripoff. He has a German accent or Austrian accent, and he just makes these like weird, like, is everybody on the crew doing well? Like I can't even imitate it. I just fail at his German accent's hard because I can't even do it. And he's this ridiculous, like, Wizard of Oz bald looking character that is it's a comic relief. I don't know. It's just stupid for stupid's sake. And he's eventually in the movie, like, you just see his face on screen, but like midway through the film you see the entire being of this Dr. Mittenhead, and he's like from here up, and then the rest is like he's on some kind of robot thing with wheels, and he's just like an upper torso essentially. And he has this like computer in front of him that basically like controls all his functions and shit. And at one point he's arguing with the people and he's getting mad and he's like slamming his fist on his computer, and then he malfunctions and he like and then he'll like function again, and it'll be like, don't make me angry or I'll like have to destroy myself. It's so dumb. But like, it's funny, and there's certain moments that are funny, but you can't even have a good time with this film because they're few and far between, and they're just too stupid to take seriously, and it just throws everything at the wall. There's this one scene closer to the end where the sergeant dresses in drag and then starts doing a drag show, and I don't know if this is like some kind of mental manipulation from the leprechaun, but he starts to hit on all the crew, like the dudes, and the dudes aren't having it, and they're like, what the hell is the sergeant like doing a drag show now all of a sudden? There's a character in here named Harold, and Harold is like the nerdiest scientist type. He's fine. At one point he gets a platter thrown at him by the leprechaun, and like a metal platter, and it hits him in the face, and the back of his head hits the wall, and then his face is just a pancake. Like, it's flattened, and it's practical. I mean, it's a practical effect, but it's dumb. They do a really good practical effect in this one involving Dr. Mittenhead, because eventually Dr. Mittenhead, I guess, gets bitten by the leprechaun, or the leprechaun does something to Dr. Mittenhead to infect him with something, and he ends up turning into this spider creature. The spider creature looked really good, okay? I'll give this film that. And the spider creature would be fantastic in a different movie. One that took itself more seriously, and one that was actually sci-fi, and one that didn't send one that just, it doesn't work, man. Leprechaun's Irish, like, green, it's hard to wrap my head around making that sci-fi. It's weird. And the film, this is the longest fucking Leprechaun. This one's an hour and 37 minutes. Alright? So the last one was an hour and like 30, this is the longest one, alright? I know that. By like 2 or 3 minutes, this is the longest one. And it has no business being the longest one. Okay? Like I said, I took down some notes. There's like literal like Mortal Kombat Annihilation type green screen going on in this film, especially at the end when the leprechaun gets some kind of serum in him to make him grow to a giant leprechaun, and then he's stomping around the ship as a giant leprechaun, and the giant leprechaun is rendered like ass, and it's completely pixelated. It's just absolutely ridiculous. One of the crew members makes a Detroit joke, which was kind of funny. They land on this planet, and he's like, have you ever seen anything this bad? And he's like, I don't know, have you ever been to Detroit? So that was funny. At one point, Mr. Mittenhead, or Dr. Mittenhead, has like one of those gag balls in his mouth. I don't know why, but the crew decided to or the leprechaun put a gag ball in his mouth for some reason. Very random again, but I don't know. I'm doing the best I can with this one, guys. I hated this movie. I Like I said, I didn't take many notes. The spider mitten head was my favorite. At one point, he wraps Styx up. Styx is played by Nuno Gomes, or the black guy from Friday the 13th Part 5 and Return of the Living Dead. Wraps him in like the spider web and everything. And when he gets out of the spider web, he has spider webs like on his shoulders and hanging. And I mean, I can't even describe what they look like. They look like shower curtains. They're so cheap. Like, they look like shower curtains that have been cut into the shape of spider webs and then like dipped in some red shit. And they're hanging on it. It's bad. Like, man, I don't even want to know the budget on this film, because I guarantee I've seen let's say it's $100,000. I guarantee I've seen films that are like $2,000 budget done better than this. All right. This was the 90s. CGI wasn't perfected or anything like that, but I'm telling you. And even if it was just that, like, I can handle bad CGI. Like, fuck, there's movies that they have that entertainment value because they're just so goofy and they're fun. Like, they're loaded with fun, and they're fun beginning to end, and then you can have a good time going on for this cheesy B-movie ride. But when a film is boring like this, it's not so bad it's good. It's so bad it's bad, So that's the unfortunate problem that this one has, and it's the same director as the third one. So I don't want to bash it. I don't like bashing movies, but I really this one did not work for me at all. And I think I talked about everything I wrote down already. It just didn't work for me. So I don't have much to say about this one. At the end of the film, the Leprechaun is sent into space, and he blows up in space, and then again he's all body parts, and then his severed hand flips off the crew, and then just the credits roll. That's funny, I guess. I'm sorry. Yeah, Leprechaun 4 it didn't work for me, like I said. But we're going to the hood, so from space to the ghetto, these films are just running out of ideas like crazy. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back with more Leprechaun reviews soon. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers. Hope the next one is way better.